Hey everybody, this is Fago Franklin III with New Stitch Media. Today I am joined by Head of Social Audience Development for the Undefeated, Marcus Matthews. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. Appreciate the invitation.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. Before we get into your journey, could you give my viewers some words of encouragement for today?
Well, I mean, today, as you see, we are coming to the end of another year, a very trying year, but we're still here. So, I think you can take that and then like look back on this trying year and just see that everything that we've done to still be around, still be doing what we need to do every day in life, and just kind of push that into 2021 and, just keep fighting. Just all I gotta say, just keep fighting at this point. Some of us, didn't make it, to this point, but we're still here, and God willing, we'll still be kind of doing what we need to do every day in 2021. So just keep fighting.
Amen. Thank you for those encouraging words. As you just mentioned about the pandemic, how have you been adjusting and adapting since this pandemic has happened?
Professionally, it's been a very busy year, for us, especially since I head up social at the Undefeated. And it's like, once, kind of quarantine kind of, set in and shut down everything, I believe, like, if not the middle of March, like toward the end of March, it really, really kind of showed us that we kind of had to be the leaders, for our brand, as editorial was trying to figure out ways to, continue their day-to-day reporting, but social was kind of, a 24/7 creature. And so, we had kind of find ways to actually just, be able to, produce content, on a daily basis and, serve our followers, in an authentic way as possible, which we kind of strive for every day. But it's just like, it tasked us to be a lot more creative. Like from a social standpoint, like 2020, I wouldn't say it was a banner year, but it was a pretty productive year, for us, because it just allowed us to just be more creative, since we didn't have live events to cover and, be at creating content. It just from more of a homegrown standpoint, allowed us to put our creative hats on and, create content to serve our audience on a daily basis. And I think we did that. And I think the numbers show that we did that, and it was received well by our audience. So from a professional standpoint, it was a hectic year. It was a trying year, but it actually, I think it tested, kind of our ability and talent. And I think we came out good on a personal level. I mean, just like everyone else, I had friends, I've lost friends, to COVID. I had friends that, became sick, from COVID, but was able to recover. So, just kind of dealing with that and just dealing with just going from working inside the office every day to being at home, and kind of, how that weighs on you mentally at some point. And then just, how, we started the year off with, Kobe's death, and then, COVID, and then the summer with George Floyd, and kind of the whole summer activism, things, all type of unrest that was going on in our country. So, I mean, it was a trying year filled with ups and downs, but, like I said earlier, like, we're still here. It's definitely a year like no other year that, I've experienced, in my 44 years of life. But, it's like, we're still here. So just keep rolling with the punches and, just looking forward to 2021.
As you have mentioned about Kobe's death, George Floyd, and the pandemic, how have you been able to keep positive during these rough times?
I'm not sure what other people, use, but it's like, I am a man of faith. So, you kind of, lean on to that a lot, in these trying times. But, it's just like, I never really like to focus on, the negative things that, may occur in our lives, and just try to focus on the positive and just keep it moving, to be honest with you.
Okay. And I know that the Undefeated has done so many unique stories telling people about Black Lives Matter and what individuals of people of color are doing in lives in their communities in a positive aspect. What does it mean to you that this platform you can use to voice your opinions in a more so of a positive way?
I mean, to be honest with you, that's the whole reason why we were created. I mean, I've worked with ESPN since 2005. And so, in that period when I used to work on the TV side, we always wish we had like when I say we, I mean other, employees of color, at ESPN. We always wished that we always had a platform to, tell our stories that affect our communities and just shed light, on what's going on in our community, and just to be able to do it at, a premier level, as well as we did other stories, at the network. And so, the Undefeated was the brainchild of John Skipper, who used to, head ESPN and was trying to, really get us up off the ground for years. And we finally did launch in 2016. And then so, when the opportunity presented itself for me to move over to the Undefeated, I was working with First Take. First Take was a very, and still is a very popular show and the number one show, at ESPN. So it's like, I started, from the ground up with First Take, where we, transitioned from a sports variety kind of Good Morning America sort of show, and then transitioned to the debate format that it has now, and it kind of took off. And it was a little, I was a little hesitant of leaving, a successful, product like that I've been a part of, since, day one. And it's just, I felt that if it was going to be something to take me away from that, this was probably the best opportunity where I would be actually, creating content that we have always wanted to create, at the network. Mm-hmm. From a Black perspective, and then just kind of creating content that affects our community and in the right way. And so that was that. So it pretty much like kind of was a no-brainer. And just like I said, that's what we do when we walk in the door every day, so to speak. It's just like make sure that we are telling our stories and telling them in the right way, whether that be good or bad.
Mm-hmm. So I see that you worked with Stephen A. Smith, and you were the social media manager. What was that experience like?
I mean, it was a trying experience. It was an interesting experience. It was a fruitful experience. Once you go from like actually just like presenting and managing the brand, I mean, it's a lot different than when you're managing like an individual, personal talent or voice. And so, and Stephen A is a unique guy, so he's one of a kind, which is why he's the highest paid at the network. And, it's just like, it took time to, because I didn't always, manage his social. So, for the most part, I was really managing the show's social. And then over time, I originally had more of a stronger connection with Skip than I did with Stephen A, just because like Stephen A wasn't really, really into social like that, at the beginning, and Skip was all like totally like a social fiend or whatever. So I work with him every day, or just like hear about stuff off my mind about things I was saying in social, stuff like that. And then over time on the show, I became closer with Stephen A, working with him, and then it just became, just he, talking to him one day, and he was like he wanted to be more active in social, and he, had different questions about, different platforms and way he can kind of get his stuff across, stuff that he did for First Take, stuff that he was doing for ESPN Radio, stuff that he was doing like personally outside of ESPN. And so, we formulated that relationship and grew to a point where it became, well, he was like, well, what do you think about managing my social, on a day-to-day basis? And kind of that's how I led to that. And, I mean, it's just a unique experience. You get to go different places and meet different people that, you never thought you would end up meeting and being, like soap opera sets and all that type of stuff. So I mean, it was definitely a cool experience. And then it allows you to see like the other side, of talent, than just off when the camera's rolling and the mic is hot. So I definitely appreciate that opportunity as well.
So I know you have an extensive background in sports media. What actually inspired you to get into this field?
Well, I mean, for the most part, I played sports, all my life, played football, I was on the track team. And, at a certain point, you all realize that, if you have what it takes to be a professional athlete, or, if it's going to go to the next level. So, once I went to like a very prestigious high school in the DMV area, the Mather Catholic High School, that has a very strong basketball and sports program. And I played football all 4 years. And, it's like, I went to college at Howard, and the reason I went to Howard was because basically I had a number of colleges offering me like partial rides, but I had a full ride to go to Howard, and I chose to go to Howard, but it wasn't an athletic scholarship. And at a certain point, I was like, well, if I'm gonna go to college for 4 years, do I want to play football, knowing that I might not have a chance to go pro, which I probably wouldn't, or do I want to focus on what I'm gonna do like when I get out of school? And so I figured that if I couldn't play professional sports, like what's the next best thing? And so actually when I was in high school, I started kind of writing, covering sports and things of that nature, and then kind of just took it up to a whole nother level when I got to Howard, because I feel like if I can't, be on the field, well, what's the next best thing? Well, the next best thing is being in locker rooms, telling these athletes stories, covering these athletes, things of that nature. So that's kind of how I got into the sports, journalism side, things. And it just felt like more natural, like growing in school, I was, looked up to Stuart Scott and trying to be the next Stuart Scott, on the camera, stuff like that. And it really didn't until I got into like my profession, and I started kind of gravitate more toward the producing side than actually like the on-camera side and the talking head side. So I mean, it just felt like a natural transition to me to kind of go in this field and this route. And I've been in the game for over 20 some years, so I mean, I guess I made the right decision.
So I know that we have been covering not just your publication as well as mine. We've been covering a lot of different protests. What, in your perspective, how can we find a solution to improve the system? Because I personally feel like that marching is not enough. What can we do to find a better solution?
I mean, the solution for a lot of stuff that, we've been marching and protesting for or against, this summer aren't new issues. It's just actually coming to light, and people are actually, because I think the George Floyd situation was such like a snowball effect, because with COVID, everyone was sitting at home, and then so it's like you consuming all of this content, and then when George Floyd kind of went down, it wasn't like the first time a black man had been killed by the cops. It was just like we were just fatigued from COVID, and then just like fatigued for another black man. It's like everybody was like, we can't take it no more. Let's do something about it. But I think as you saw, like in the streets, it was a lot more. It was a lot of people that looked more than just like you and I. So I think like when it comes to like these type of situations with racial injustice and all these type of things that we were protesting in the summertime, it's just like it takes for us to have allies that don't look like us to actually stand, with us on the front lines, and actually go back, to people that matter and voice their opinions to their, friends in power and stuff like that, to make, changes in legislation. And, and then, it takes like these officers of color, when they see misconduct going on by, their white, colleagues, and actually standing up, in front of their colleagues, and kind of going against the whole, fraternity, brotherhood, of what they deal with, and just actually like speak out on injustices, and don't stand for things, but it's like it takes for people outside of us to actually see that there is a problem going on that needs to be corrected, and that we aren't just shouting and spouting off for no reason. There's a reasoning behind our actions.
Now I know you had mentioned earlier that you had took a leap of faith, going from ESPN and moving to the Undefeated. Like, in your experience, how did you overcome that fear of doing something that you're uncomfortable and you did not know?
I mean, I think in any major change in life, you're gonna feel a little bit of uncomfortability. You're gonna feel a little bit of uneasiness. You're gonna feel like nervousness, because it's all new, and it's like with the Undefeated, it's like, well, the kind of correct you a little bit, the Undefeated is still part of ESPN, but a part of the broader Disney kind of umbrella, so to speak. But we still kind of have like a strong tie, foothold with sports. But we also do like HBCU life, culture, uplift content that just not just always solely based on on sports or whatever. And so it's just like, you know, like I said, I felt like I didn't like I had no like reservations of when I made the move. So it's like, yeah, I was unsure about where we were going. And it's like basically I had never been a part of a startup before. So it's like to start from ground zero and just try to establish yourself and build yourself up and create, you know, the relevancy that you would like for your brand to have in social. You know, it takes a lot of work. And it's just like one thing I kind of discounted just actually like being in front of people every day, like I was, you know, with First Take, as far as like growing the brand and things of that nature. But I mean, I felt like the subject matters we would be covering and kind of the content that we were kind of being focused on an everyday basis was kind of felt like I was doing, you know, something of good than just greater for my professional, you know, advancement. And so because of that, I mean, I felt that ease. You know, like I said, in any opportunity, you're still gonna feel a little nervous, like when things are changing and you don't really know, you know, how you're going to navigate things. So it's just like, you know, you kind of just get in and roll with the punches and then just find out, you know, what works, what doesn't work. And then also, you know, still, you know, checking the boxes that you have to check, you know, from, you know, administrative and kind of like, you know, making sure, you know, the corporate bosses are cool with certain things that you're doing and stuff like that or whatever. So, I mean, it's like I said, it's natural to be nervous and stuff like that or whatever. But I felt like the content we were creating kind of just eased, you know, any concerns that I had about us being successful. Like I said, we're 4 years in, and I think we're growing, you know, by the day, and with other partnerships that we will have, kind of content partnerships with kind of in the future with like FX and Hulu, you know, and working with other kind of Disney brand partners. I believe that we will get the exposure we've been searching for in these, you know, first initial years. And so, you know, I mean, I think the brand is strong and growing, and I think it's where we want it to be. So, you know, at the end of the day, I look back, it's like, you know, I was nervous, you know, but I feel like I made the right move. I would do the same move all over again if I had a chance. And so, you know, I mean, I'm completely, you know, content with the move and where we're at right now.
What advice can you give people who are panicking right now because they've been laid off from a news station or a publication? What advice would you give them right now?
I mean, I would say don't panic. Just kind of take, you know, a couple of deep breaths and just look at social and how you can build like your own platform to, you know, showcase yourself, you know, for the next, you know, employer. Because like, you know, you still, whether it be news, sports, fashion, music, whatever, there's still an audience for that in social. So it's like, you know, make sure that you are engaging, you know, in those conversations, you know, on a daily basis. And then also, you know, make sure, you know, reach out to like, you know, your journalist friends or, you know, make new journalist friends, you know, that's in your industry via social, man, you know, just jump in and have conversations with people and still, you know, be in the mix and stay relevant, even though you're not on air every day or you're not, you know, have a byline, you know, every single day. You still can remain relevant. And, you know, I know a lot of us journalists of color anyway in this industry, you know, once we see, you know, we always looking out, you know, for people when we hear about job openings and things of that nature. And we all know that we can all face that same, you know, situation, you know, tomorrow, you know, because I mean, the business is the business, you know. So I would just say, you know, just make sure you just stay in the mix and stay relevant. And, you know, at some point, you know, you will get back on your feet, because if you're good at what you do, you know, it's like the amount of stories, you know, just from our perspective that needs to be told is still, you know, in great numbers out there. So, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, finding the right lane for yourself.
What are the key factors with building a successful brand?
I mean, I would say authenticity, relevancy, consistency, and you know, then and also, you know, make your audience, you know, count. You know, so don't always, you know, just be putting just content out in front of people, but you know, engage with your fan base. comment on like a tweet they send you, or if they make a good take on an article that you sent. Don't be afraid to amplify that, or respond back to them, or like like the comment or whatever like that. That goes a long way into you like brand loyalty and just keeping your audience engaged and locked in with your content.
And my last question for you is, who are your Super Bowl picks right now?
Oh, Super Bowl picks. I mean, honestly, I really don't see anyone stopping Kansas City in the AFC. I mean, to be honest, right now, it looks like Kansas City and Green Bay, which would be a hell of a showdown with like Aaron Rodgers versus Mahomes, the two favorite MVP candidates. But you know what? In 2020, it's been such a weird year. It's like I would not be shocked if like we get a Super Bowl with like the Cleveland Browns against like I don't know some like lower seed like in the NFC. To be honest with you, I mean like a Seattle Cleveland Super Bowl, or I mean I'm not even sure like what the playoff positionings are right now, but like I would like to see Kansas City and Green Bay, and I think that will be the Super Bowl. But I would not be shocked if like the Titans ruffle some feathers, or the Browns ruffle some feathers in the playoffs, or like somebody trips up Green Bay in the playoffs, even though the road to the Super Bowl is going to lead through in the NFC through Lambeau. So you know how Green Bay plays with that, as you saw Sunday night with that snowy, cold weather, and how kind of teams kind of just like render null and void when they go up against them in that environment. So, but yeah, I mean, if you hold the gun to my head, I'm gonna say Kansas City and Green Bay.
Okay, and a bonus question for you is, what is one of your favorite memories with just being in this field?
Favorite memories. I guess one of my favorite memories was pretty much being at I can't remember the number of the Super Bowl, but it was the Super Bowl in Tampa played between the Ravens and the Giants. And at the time I was a reporter for the Washington Afro-American newspaper. And so basically the Ravens won the Super Bowl, and the clinching play in that game was made by Jermaine Lewis, who was a track teammate of mine and kind of grew up, in a neighborhood up the street from me. So kind of, just seeing him, on that stage, and kind of our neighborhood and kind of our background, just kind of being on the forefront and just seeing how much that, he went through to get to that point and to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and me being in the stadium to watch it, I would say like that's one of my highest, kind of experiences, kind of covering sports, but then also having a personal tie-in, to the game as well.
Oh, and I got another question. I have to ask this too. What was your experience like with just being at the Super Bowl? Because with me, mine was a little bit different and unique. My first Super Bowl was Super Bowl 52, where my Eagles family won the Super Bowl. And that was a pretty unique experience. What was your experience like just working your first Super Bowl?
I mean, it's crazy because you like it's like you go to the Super Bowl and you look at the media. It's like madness. It's like you've never seen that amount of media, in your life at one place at one time. From media day, like on that Monday or Tuesday, to just the coverage throughout the week, to actually like game day, and how it's just chaos. But it's like it's controlled chaos. But it's like just seeing everybody on deadline. So it's like covering sports, it's hard to really take in like the game. Because like you're so focused on reporting like what's going on, and then if you have like a deadline like right after the game, you're focused on like meeting that deadline, or you just looking at other storylines that you can kind of craft out of for your own whatever company you're working for, whatever entity, whatever unique kind of angle you can take that everybody else isn't going to take. So you're so focused in that you're not really it's like you're kind of like numb to the actual like plays and stuff, things of that nature. Especially like I don't think I could cover well, I can't say that because I'm a Laker fan, and I actually covered the NBA Finals when the Lakers played the Celtics, but I worked kind of on a production truck for ESPN, and it definitely takes away from the experience or the joy of your team playing for a championship because you're so locked in your job. So it's completely different. But it's just like everything is like amplified to like the 10th power. Like it's like a game on steroids for the most part. just from a media, standpoint, and then just like it's like how much you got to fight for position to like get in and get your good bites and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's pretty much like the game inside the game for the most part.
Exactly. Marcus, we want to definitely have to let you go. Thank you for joining me first and foremost. Before I let you go, where can my viewers find some of your work? Do you have any social media handles that you use?
Yeah, personally, I'm at Goochavelli on Twitter and Instagram. That's GOOCHAVELI. And also, if you don't know about the things that we do at the Undefeated on social, we at the Undefeated on Facebook, the Undefeated site, on Instagram, Undefeated ESPN. And it's a new year. We're just excited to kind of still be in the game and just kind of present, the right side of sports, and kind of just keeping that whole, social justice march and kind of like what these athletes are doing in their communities outside of on the floor. And like I said, we've been doing this, since 2016. And it was interesting because it kind of coincided with Kaepernick's, movement. And so like we kind of hit the ground running then, and we're still running now. And so we'll still be doing that in 2021. So just, check us out and, send your boy a shout out once in a while. So appreciate it.
As you heard it from Marcus, 2021, we're not stopping. We're just definitely amplifying different people's voices that are doing positive things within their communities. Again, this is Fago Franklin III. You can actually find me on Instagram, which is superjournalist87. You can find me on Facebook, which is Fago Franklin III. You can find me on YouTube, where I'm interviewing some of your favorite celebrities, athletes, sports media people, media personalities, any and everybody. And you can always find me on LinkedIn at Fago Franklin III. Thank you again, Marcus, for joining me. Definitely have a blessed and productive day, my friend.
Do the same, man. Happy holidays and a productive new year to you, my man.
Yes, sir. You too now. All right, now. All right.